Hi, I'm Sun Sports reporter Kirk Penton, and I'm here today to break down the 2012 You Be the Boss results. That's our annual poll where we ask you, the Bomber fan, to tell us what you think needs to be done to fix this thing. The Bombers, of course, were 6-12 this year, missed the playoffs after getting to the Grey Cup last year. There were lots of issues to deal with, and we asked you about them this year in our annual poll. Nearly 1,200 of you responded, which is a very high number for our poll. It's always interesting to see how you're thinking, so I figured we'd just go over a few highlights here. Starting at the top, you're not happy with the leadership, which is not surprising. GM Joe Mack got an approval rating of only 30%, while CEO Garth Butchko got an approval rating of only 40%. Now that's not terrible, but anytime you're under 50%, not good. Coach Tim Burke, the fans love Coach Tim Burke. 86.4 was his approval rating. And offensive coordinator Gary Croton even had more fans on his side than against him, with a 58.5% approval rating. And poor Chip Garber, the linebackers coach, 68.1% was his approval rating, but he's already been fired, so sorry to the 68.1% of you who wanted him to stay. Quarterbacks, big issue here in Bomberland, and you only wanted to keep 2 of the 4. And I'm guessing you can figure out which 2 those are. Justin Goltz, being the 4th stringer, is the most popular man in town, getting a 73.8% approval rating when we asked if you wanted to keep or punt him. And Joey Elliott also had more fans on his side than were against him, getting 56.4%. Alex Brink, 47.1%, and bringing up the rear was Buck Pierce at 36%. Of course, he's faced injury throughout his career, and it appears the fans are fed up with that. We'll get more on Buck Pierce in a bit. Just going down the list, the fans love Chad Simpson, of course. Jade Etienne, not so much. Jovan Johnson and Jonathan Hefney actually got pretty good ratings, I would say, in the keep or punt department. 83.5% of you want to keep Jovan Johnson. I figured that might be a little lower after the rough year he had. And Jonathan Hefney got a 77.5% approval rating, which is pretty good, I'd say, considering how their seasons went. We always ask every year, if you could sign only one free agent, which one would it be? This year is pretty tough. There are a lot of good defensive players that could become free agents in February. And weak side linebacker Marcellus Bowman won this year with 26.5% of the vote. It's not a very big number, but it was still the biggest one of the 11 who could go free in February. Moving on, looking back at some of the moves the Bombers made, there were only 2 of about 12 that we asked you that you approved of. And that was trading Odell Willis and releasing Fred Reed. We asked what the Bombers should do with Buck Pierce: make him the starting quarterback, the backup, have him become a coach, or cut him entirely. And having him become a coach was the winner with 42.7% of the vote. Finally, we ask it every year, what best sums up the current state of the Bombers? And we gave you 4 options, and all 4 got pretty good chunks of the vote. Winning with 34.6% was a team that is still several significant pieces away from being a champion, while the runner-up was a team that just needs a good quarterback at 32.7%. So Bomber Nation seems a bit split still on what direction this team needs to go or what's going to happen, but of course we're going to be there to follow it every step of the way, and we know you are too. So thanks again for taking part in our annual You Be the Boss poll 2012.